presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Well, the Reds are on quite a roll, and it began over the weekend thanks to Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto and company. After losing the first game of a 4-game weekend set, the Redlegs chewed them up and spit them out over the next 3. Then they return home, and they get back-to-back wins. So tonight they try and make it 6 straight victories. And after a little light rain about 2 hours ago, it is a picture-perfect weather night in downtown Cincinnati. And the Reds trying to sweep the Brewers out of town in this, the final of the 3-game set. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. And it really doesn't matter whether you're talking about June, when it all began, through July and August. 400 plus those 2 months combined batting average. Joey Votto added again in September.
Well, the last 3 months have just been remarkable to watch for Joey Votto. He does not look anything like the same guy that hit 200 right on the nose in the month of May. I mean, 415 in a month, and I mean, it's a hard 415 too, because he's mixing in extra base hits. He's mixing in home runs. He's come up with some big hits in big situations, and I'm still mystified why pitchers are pitching to them the way they do with runners in scoring position. I mean, he's a guy that would be a good old-fashioned pitcher out of my book.
This is incredible. Just take a deep breath for a minute. Pay attention to this. You think about the history of this game. Well, let's go back to the 1930s and some of the greatest names in the history of the game. Votto tied for the 3rd highest post-All-Star break batting average with George Brett.
Well, those are mighty impressive names, obviously. If you're in the same category as Ted Williams and George Brett and Ichiro, you're right there. The one reason why the Reds are 5 games over 500, they're 30-25 since the All-Star break, not only because of Joey Votto, but they're getting some pretty good pitching, too.
And tonight, that'll be Tim Adelman, who will be on the mound. Now, we have not seen this young right-hander, Junior Guerra.
Junior Guerra is a guy that has really come out of nowhere. I mean, this is a great matchup tonight because both of these pitchers thought that their careers were over. They both pitched in independent league baseball. They scraped the bottom of the barrel, and here they are teeing it up against each other on big league mounds. It ought to be a real interesting matchup for no other reason because these are ultimate survivors.
All right, when we come back, we're going to check in with Jim Day. He's taking an off night from telling us about Joey Votto and Brandon Phillips. Tonight, he's going to zero in on Adam Duvall. Wait till you see some of these numbers. Jimbo standing by right after this.
Brought to you by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Should be another beautiful night at the ballpark tonight. Any isolated showers that we have out there now will dissipate by game time. We'll be falling out of the 80s and through the 70s. Dry conditions, partly cloudy skies, but a little bit muggy. Let's go Reds.
Last year when the Reds traded Mike Leake, Kairi Maya was supposedly the showcase player in that deal, pitcher that's in the Reds minor league system. Adam Duvall was also a part of that trade. And Adam Duvall that we saw last year and the one that showed up at spring training looked like a whole different player. We've been talking about it all season long, and he continues with what has been a breakout season, an all-star season for the Reds left fielder. 89 runs driven in this season. That leads the team, and with one more, he'll not only reach that 90 mark, but it'll be the first player since Jay Bruce and Brandon Phillips in 2013 to do so. More numbers as you check out our IGS Bringing the Energy. Last 5 Reds players with 30 or more home runs, 25 or more doubles, and 5 or more triples. Adam Duvall this year joins Jay Bruce, Brandon Phillips, George Foster, and Hall of Famer Tony Perez on that list. It has been quite the year for Adam Duvall, the pride of Louisville, and it's been fun to watch, and the future should be bright. Reds hoping to open up a 6-pack tonight. 6th straight victory with a victory over the Brewer Crew tonight and a sweep. Can they get it? We'll find out together on Fox Sports Ohio.
Line tonight presented by Elk and Elk. The Cincinnati Reds. What's at stake? Win tonight means the first sweep of the Brewers since May of 2013. Same 6-game winning streak that time frame, and a second overall sweep against an opponent this year, and the other very, very early against the Philadelphia Phillies. Already bat in hand, helmet on, ready to go. Let's take a look at the Brewers starting lineup. Is Jonathan Villar, the third baseman, Keon Broxton in center, Ryan Braun in left, Chris Carter at first, Scooter Gennett at second, and Domingo Santana in right field. Arcia the shortstop, Pena catching, Guerra on the mound. Starting for the Redlegs, Tim Adelman making his 10th start, 2 wins, 3 defeats, 46 innings, 46 hits.
Had a very good outing his last time out. That was when the Reds were in Pittsburgh and they won that ball game 4-3. He won 7 innings of 2-run baseball. You just wonder, you know, had Tim Adelman not missed 2.5 months of the season due to a strained oblique, where he would be win and loss record right now. He's throwing the ball very well.
All right, here we go. BR looks at ball one, and this one is underway at Great American Ballpark on a beautiful weather night in downtown Cincinnati. Reds will have tomorrow off. Expecting great weather through the weekend, so come on down. Reds will play the Pirates Friday night, a day-night split doubleheader Saturday. First game at noon, second game at 6:10, and then a 1:10 start to wrap up the series and the homestand before embarking on their final road trip of the year through Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis. Chu Hopper, the starter at second base tonight. Tony Renda, one away.
When you watch Tim Adelman pitch, he reminds you a lot of the pitcher in last night's ball game, Dan Straley. He's not overpowering, although he does throw a couple of miles an hour harder than does Straley. But he uses all of his pitches. He equally throws a fastball, 4-seam and 2-seam. He throws a curveball and a changeup. And he's really all about changing speeds. And for a guy that has, you know, seen his way around the lower levels of professional baseball, he's not afraid anymore. He comes right after hitters.
For that fastball at 92 right by Keon Broxton. Broxton homered his first at bat last night. That came in the second inning. All 4 Brewer runs came via the long ball. Solo shots in the second and third, and then a 2-run home run off Tony Cingrani in the ninth by Chris Carter.
You know, really what we've seen the last couple of nights is why the radar gun might be the single most overrated piece of technology used in baseball scouting. Because Straley didn't need one last night. He breezed through this order. And here Adelman is making his 91, 92 mile an hour fastball seem like it's 98. Just by the way you have a little bit of deception where you spot the ball in the strike zone. You got to do something more than throw hard to get big league hitters out.
Adelman one career game against these Brewers. It came all the way back in the month of May the 6th, before he got hurt. Went 5 innings, allowed 4 hits and a run, pitched well. He did get the win in that game, a 5-1 Reds decision.
You know, one thing we've really been able to enjoy is watching Tucker Barnhart behind the plate. Watch when he gives his sign and put yourself on the mound. I mean, he's talking. I want on the dirt right here. I want it down. And that's where he got it, and he got the strikeout. I mean, you talk about a catcher that really works hand in hand with his pitchers. I mean, every night's a new night for a catcher. You know, you've got to recognize what that guy brings to the table, what he may have or may not have warming up in the bullpen. So you go down there and catch him a little bit. You talk to him about the scouting report. You go with his strength. You know what the hitters can hit. Boy, you know, you talk about a partner. You got one right there in Tucker Barnhart.
He's had a very nice year. You know, really, it's the second year in a row he is getting regular playing time. Now, not as much last year. Brian Pena was still around, and you know they were sharing catching duties. But this year, after Desmond Mesoraco for a second straight year was out with the injury, Tucker, by and large, has been the guy day in and day out, and has proven he belongs.
Well, the other thing you like about him as a pitcher is that he gets small behind the plate. So he gives the umpire the complete view of the strike zone. You know, sometimes not all umpires are 6 feet 4 inches tall. So sometimes you get behind a big catcher and they got to lean up over their shoulder and they miss certain pitches. But look what a great view this umpire has behind Tucker. Tonight it's Roberto Ortiz behind the plate.
We mentioned Adelman, the game he beat the Brewers, his only career appearance. And many of you may recall, Tim Adelman will never forget it. That was his first major league win. Swing and a miss by Braun, and the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
This guy's not the only threat in the lineup, but he certainly is the guy that is the main man. you know, you want to make sure that you keep Braun quiet if at all possible. I mean, he hits against the Reds like Joey Votto hits against the Brewers.
That strike 3 called and Braun knew it. He's acting like he didn't think it was, but he knows it. Good start for Tim Adelman. Leading off the Reds lineup here tonight will be followed by Tyler Holt and Joey Votto. Adam Duvall in left field, the cleanup hitter. Suarez drops to the number 5 hole, and Schebler again in right. A ladder third of Rendon, Barnhart, Adelman, Junior Guerra. 8-3, a sparkling 2.9 ERA. This is his 20th start.
And that's only part of the story. The other part of it is that he's a 31-year-old rookie. I mean, he has been, you talk about Tim Adelman being at the bottom of the professional pitching barrel. Guerra has been way below that. It's really incredible. We'll get into his story as he moves along in the game, but he has been really the most consistent pitcher that the Brewers have had. He's a converted position player, originally signed by the Braves way back when in 2006 as a catcher.
Well, if he wasn't pitching against your favorite team, he'd be an easy guy to root for every time he takes the mound.
You're right about that. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, he's pitched in Spain, he's pitched in Italy, he's pitched throughout the minor leagues. He's gone, I don't know, 4 or 5 years without pitching professional baseball at all. And he was on the disabled list, not nearly as long as was Adelman. He only missed about 3 weeks. They put him on the DL in the beginning of the month of August, and he came back just about the first day of September. He had a little elbow problem. His main pitch is a splitter. He throws fastball, splitter, slider, pretty much in that order. And there's a splitter. The split finger fastball, if you're not familiar with it, is a pitch that a pitcher will take the baseball and he'll just cram it between his index finger and his middle finger. And he'll just throw it like a fastball, and it comes out kind of a tumbling spin, and the ball just drops straight off the table. There it is again.
Two and two on Jose Peraza, 320 batter, and fouled off the mask of the catcher Pena. Peraza 1 hit and 4 at bats last night. His only hit came leading off the first inning. He was thrown out stealing. See, Pena serving not only as catcher but cheerleader. Behind the plate for Guerra on the mound, and a ground ball right at the third baseman. 1 out. We look at Milwaukee on defense, presented by Ford. Same outfield minus Neuenhuis. Santana is in there for him tonight. VR bouncing all over the place. We've seen him in this series at short, second, tonight at third. As Jeanette is back in the lineup again with the shortstop Arcia.
Well, if they don't put Jeanette in the lineup, they'll only have one left-handed hitter in the lineup entirely against a right-handed pitcher, and that guy would be the switch hitter, Jonathan VR. So this is the one real shortcoming of this Brewers roster right now, is that they are so right-handed. When they face a right-handed pitcher with a good slider, you can pretty much handle them, even though they do have some thump.
Holt in 169 at bat so far this year, a .237 batter. Has not homered, 13 knocked in, 5 doubles, 3 triples. Played very well here of late when he gets a chance to play. And that's been a little more frequently than it was for the better part of about a 2.5-month run there, with Billy Hamilton missing time here over these last 2 to 3 weeks of the season. .91-mile-per-hour fastball right at the knees. 2-2 on Tyler Holt. Brought it up last night. You know, the Reds, you've got to, as they say sometimes, crawl before you can walk, and this Reds team would love to crawl past the Brewers up the National League Central Division ladder before the end of this year. No one wants to finish in dead last. And the Reds go into play tonight just a game and a half behind Craig Counsell's team. And they have a 3-game series still to play in Milwaukee next weekend. And everybody's playing the same teams. I mean, by and large, you know, with a 5-team division, somebody's going to be playing outside the division. But the Reds are strictly inside the NL Central the remainder of this year.
Well, what that really means is that the airplane flights are going to be very short.
Yes.
They've had some long flights. The Reds have been out to the West Coast 3 times this year. And that was the one thing I was talking to Jim Riggleman as we got on that flight coming back from Anaheim, which was a long, long night anyway. He said, thank goodness these long flights are over with. Everything from now on is about an hour or less.
And the Reds schedule came out today looking ahead to next year. Some of you may have heard about that already as Holt bangs one into center field. The Reds, for a second straight season, Chris, are going to open against the Philadelphia Phillies. Of course, the Reds so fortunate they always open here at home. Some people believe that's written in the bylaws in Major League Baseball or the National League. It is not. But it's not something that's going to change anytime soon. So they'll open against the Phillies on Monday, April the 3rd. They'll have their traditional off day, then play the next 2 days. But some of the teams that will be coming in here this season, besides those in the National League, the Reds will be playing, you know, their traditional 2 games against Cleveland, 4 total, 2 here, 2 in Cleveland. But the New York Yankees will come here. As Votto drives one into left center field. Long run. What a nice play that is by Keon Broxton. Man, did he cover some ground. But interleague, the Reds will have, I mean, really the 2 big boys. The Yankees come in, Boston comes in. Cleveland might be the defending world champions when all is said and done. Who knows the way they're going. Baltimore could be in the playoffs again. 3 3-city road trips. 5 3-team home stands. Baltimore will come in April. The Yankees will come in on a Monday, Tuesday in May. Reds will go to Tampa Bay. They'll go to Toronto. in a very, really the only what you would call quirky part of the schedule involves the Boston Red Sox. They are here the second to last weekend of the season. September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Could be an exciting weekend.
Could be. Hopefully Mr. Benintendi will be coming back to his hometown to play.
You know, the other quirky part of this schedule that I noticed, Tom, is that the Reds will go to St. Louis 2 times in the month of April, and then they won't go back to St. Louis again until the mid part of September. Now they'll play them in between here in Cincinnati. That's a long time between heading out there to play the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. I don't think Tyler Holt's happy until his uniform's dirty. He's getting there.
High drive in the deep right center field. Will Broxton get this one? He will. A couple of nice plays in the inning by the speedy Milwaukee center fielder, Keon Broxton. Presented by Ford. We told you Holt getting the start tonight in center, and Renda for Brandon Phillips at second base. Adelman on the mound off a 1-2-3 inning with a pair of strikeouts. So he'll go to work now on Chris Carter, Scooter Gennett, Domingo Santana. Renda, one of the players, those of you perhaps not familiar, that came over in the Aroldis Chapman trade from the New York Yankees. And of course we'll see how that plays out moving forward. The Yankees, after waiting on Chapman to serve his month-long suspension, got the Aroldis Chapman we've all been used to watching since he came to the big leagues. Just incredibly dominant, ultimately dealing him to the Chicago Cubs, where for the first time the Reds will see him in a Cub uniform next Monday. I don't know how many guys will be looking forward to that necessarily, especially once 7:05 comes around at Wrigley Field next Monday night. That'll be 3 straight night games again at Wrigley next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You have a long trip and a couple of off days on the trip. What, 3 off days total?
Well, there'll be an off day between the Reds' trip to Chicago and then when they start up the weekend series against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, but you'll be off on Sunday, right?
Sunday. We do not broadcast on Sunday. Yeah. Well, that's from Milwaukee on the way to St. Louis at the very last leg of that trip. So I'll just charge up the old golf cart and see how far I can make it.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Especially that part of getting from Milwaukee through Chicago down to St. Louis. That should be a lot of fun in a golf cart.
Got some solar panels.
You're all set.
Some boom boxes. I'm ready to go.
There's ball 4 to Carter to begin the 2nd inning. Does that golf cart stop in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin?
Well, did you happen to see my itinerary? Yeah, I've got it. That is the most direct
It's along
route.
the way. It is. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Straight south, leaving Milwaukee on your way to Chicago. You peel right off Lake Geneva. Understand the Rolander family is rolling out their digs down there for you to come hang out, you know, use the boats, plural, that kind of thing, right?
I just need a little outlet to charge her up in.
All right. Well, then I'll just tell them forget about it then. That you don't need that place.
Although if they have a spare room, which they probably do.
About 11. You know, those old mansions there, old Chicago families there that have been there for, you know, decade after decade after decade. It's a beautiful place.
It is. Well, Adelman is a guy that one of the things that has impressed me about him when he's been on the mound is that he has not pitched scared, and he's come right after the hitters. Although he walks the leadoff hitter here, now he's down 2-0 to Scooter Gennett. He's got a nice sink on his fastball, so he's got to be thinking about keeping it down and maybe getting Gennett into a double play ball. Good pitch there.
Gennett 11 home runs, 45 runs batted in. They've slotted him into areas in the batting order the last couple of series where we've seen the Brewers. And again, this was after they traded Jonathan Lucroy. And, you know, but with all of the right-handed batters that you talked about, Chris, in the you know, virtually 0 left-handed batters. You know, Craig Counsell just wants to break them up sometimes, and so he'll put Gennett in the 4-hole, the 5-hole, places like that. And really, that's not his game. Good pitch.
Well, he followed up a 2-0 fastball with a 2-0 changeup right there, and both of them just right on the edge.
All right, 3-2. So Adelman walked the first batter in the inning, Carter. And now he's run the count full on Scooter Gennett. Carter's running. And a fly ball down the left field line, and that is headed in the corner, and unable to get there is Adam Duvall. Still 3-2.
I think you were sounded surprised that Carter would be running, and I think a lot of people are surprised. I think the reason he's running, I mean, this guy's not, I mean, he's built for comfort, not speed. So, but they feel like Gennett is not going to strike out here. He's a good controller of the bat. He can put the bat on the ball, and the last thing the Counsell's thinking about is perhaps a throw him out, strike him out type double play. Although he does have 3 stolen bases. They got to be sneak attacks.
For sure. 3-2 once more, and again Carter running, and back-to-back walks for Adelman to start this second inning. And now Tucker Barnhart says, hang on a minute.
Adelman's a bright guy. You know, he's a very interesting pitcher to talk to. He went to Georgetown. I mean, the Reds have a pitcher that went to Georgetown, another one that went to Princeton. The Brewers have, of course, Brent Suter, who went to Harvard. Pretty good academic measuring players on each of these teams. I don't see any South Florida or Ohio U's in there.
That's because they're out making big money in the business world. I mean, think about it. The Harvard guy's sitting inside of a cage.
Well, at least the bars aren't going up and down.
That's true. Swinging a foul ball out of play. I mean, come on.
He had his whole family and cheering section down there. Batting practice was rained out for the most part, and he came out, and there must have been about 30 of his fans, obviously family and friends, all wearing Brewer gear. It was great to see him visit with them. I mean, they were standing for pictures and hugging, and a real thrill.
Can't stop smiling about it. 1-2 on Santana. Nice block on that pitch in the dirt by Tucker.
Well, a decision pitch right here. You call it the action pitch on a 2-2 count. I'll never forget Robin Roberts used to say, no three things about pitching. First pitch strikes, change speeds on your curveball, and get a decision on a 2-2 count.
The jury is still out.
So will counsel run him again? I don't know. I think that Santana's not much of a. I mean, this guy is a swing and miss candidate.
Or a base hit candidate. Into center field, they're going to hold Carter at third. And the bases are loaded with none out here in the Milwaukee second inning. Walk, single, and Arcia coming up.
Well, he had to come in there with a strike, and it was a fastball. Really not hit all that great, but it was hit right at the worst fielder on the team, which is the pitcher.
All right, we'll see what Adelman can do here. Bases loaded, none out, no score in the top of the second inning. Arcia just a .224 batter.
He'll be hacking early.
And Adelman works out of the stretch, and here it comes. Swing and a miss. He was hacking, and big hacking. He wasn't thinking about some sac fly on that first strike. Well, the situations get a little more dicey. Adelman has been able to plow forward with great success. We'll see if he can do the same here. 0-2 on Arcia.
You can see Arcia really now your job as a catcher and a pitcher is to read the hitter. You got the scouting reports, you've watched him on video and so on, but now you're reading how he reacts to your stuff. He's really reaching for that stuff on the outer part of the plate. You got to stay out there and probably bury a couple of sliders, and he'll probably be very aggressive and chase something. Good chance for a strikeout here.
Well, they try to give him a chase, that breaking ball down and away.
He had a hard time holding back on that, and that was 2 feet outside.
Arcia 2 at-bats in his young career with the bases loaded. He has 1 hit, 1 strikeout.
Actually, Adelman's breaking pitch is really more of a slider. I mean, a curveball than it is a slider. Curveball a little bit more downward break and a little bit slower.
Adelman, a lot of nibbling around. 2 balls and 2 strikes. He has thrown 25 pitches in this inning and still nobody out. Decision pitch again. Popped up. Votto, Renda giving chase. Joey's got it. Carter is not going to tag. Joey throws it right back into Barnard. Nice play by Votto.
That's a real nice play by Joey Votto. I really thought that if Votto catches this ball with his back to home, Carter may take a chance right here, especially where you are down at the bottom of the order here. But Votto gets it and immediately spins and throws on one hop right to Barnhart, and Carter would have been a dead duck.
All right, so now you have the number 8 hitter, pitcher waiting on deck. Bases still loaded, but now 1 out. Here's Manny Pena, and a fastball is high. Pena with the bases loaded, 3 at bats, 2 hits, 5 runs batted in, 1 strikeout. And this is a little jam shot that'll fall in a hit. Jeanette right behind Carter. Throw to the plate is offline. It's 2-0 Milwaukee. The ball gets past Barnhart, and the runners advance. Santana on to third. Pena to second.
Pena, the catcher, just gets jammed big time on this pitch, and just because you make a good pitch, you don't always get a good result, and he just finds a little no man's land right there. The throw will come in and hit the trail runner, and that's why it gets away and the runners are able to move up.
Well, it looked like from up here that throw should have been cut off. I mean, it was clearly offline, and I'm not even sure if it's online that you get Jeanette anyway. So now the pitcher, the infield drawn in, and this guy can hit a little bit. You may not know it by that swing, but Guerra has 8 hits and 33 at bats.
Well, the Reds know it because they've been over the scouting report. He comes in here batting .242, but he's a converted catcher in the minor league. So yes, that's your ordinary up there pitcher just trying to make contact somewhere.
Infield in, and a tapper back to the mound. The runner will stay put at third, and they get out number 2. So 1 more to go for Tim Adelman.
So you get out of this jam with only 2 runs. You did give up 2, but it's not nearly as bad as it could have been. You just got to keep repeating positive thoughts in your head. Hey, get this guy. Make a good pitch right here. This is all they get.
Well, Jonathan VR stands in his way with 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. He bounced out to Renda's first time up, and there's strike 1.
This guy's a good looking hitter, VR is.
I mean, they got him for a song. I mean, you talk about what could turn out to be not a good trade. It has a potential, depending on, of course, the longevity and success of VR, but it has a chance to be one of the best trades the Brewers have ever made. Fastball high.
I mean, he's a switch hitter. Doesn't have great power, but he's going to hit you. Well, this year he's hit 16 home runs, so that's not so bad. He can run a little bit.
In those years in Houston, you know, there were only stretches where he was a regular player. He was so young when he first came up. And even this year, I think you have to give this young fellow a lot of credit because they moved him around. Now, early in the year, he was playing regularly at shortstop, but ever since they brought Arcia up, you know, he's played third in this series. He's played second tonight.
Yeah, I think they're looking for him long term at second base. But of course, you still have Jeanette playing over there.
Yeah. Played second base last night. He's over at third base tonight.
I wonder if you're going to see more and more of that. I don't know. Maybe it's just the sampling that we've seen with, you know, Jose Peraza coming up here playing all over the place. You have Ben Zobrist over there in Chicago, who was originally signed to be kind of a super utility type player.
Well, the Cubs have a number of those players.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had Chris Coughlin over there playing in the infield and the outfield. They've had Javier Baez doing the same, and there's strike three. So he does what you thought, Chris, positive thinking. And he gets out with 2 runs. 2-0 Morgan.
Top of the second inning and lead the Reds 2-0 right now. Junior Guerra, we're talking about his pitching repertoire. He throws a fastball, a 2-seam sinking fastball, and his main off-speed pitch is a splitter. And just to tell you what a splitter is, this is a 2-seam fastball right here. Pitchers throw it to get a lot of sink. The splitter, you just move your fingers apart a little bit. Now, some pitchers move them farther apart than others. Sometimes it's this much. That's more like a forkball. But his is like this. It comes out and it rotates straight down and drops off the plate. And it's just another way of throwing a changeup. But that's the main pitch for Guerra, who is a guy that, as we said, was a converted catcher, now learning how to pitch.
Of course, that was a pitch that Roger Craig all those years. Oh, boy. Fastball high and tight. Second straight game Suarez has been hit. Got in the left elbow, left forearm last night.
Gets the left shoulder tonight, or actually the back of the elbow there, the triceps, from a fellow countryman. Both Guerra and Suarez are from Venezuela.
Yeah, but it was a part of the country where one of it was like Pittsburgh and the other was like Cincinnati. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're the same country, but in some ways you're not.
I'll have to look up where Suarez is from. I know that Guerra is from Bolivar. I'm not really sure. I don't think they have a Winter League team down there, so I never played down in that city.
You'd have been good down there.
I played 1 year down in Venezuela.
Yeah, you'd be good down there.
Beautiful country, geographically.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be anywhere near there now.
Very tough to.
That place is a disaster. Socialism falling apart at the seams. And I mean a disaster. Should be a double play off the bat of Schebler, and it is on the ground ball right to Arcia. Yeah, Bolivar must be a province there of some kind,
like
right?
A state.
Yeah, so he's from the same state.
Okay.
He is
so more like, instead of like Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, more like Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yeah, but I don't know anymore if there's the same, sort of disdain between Cincinnati and Cleveland like there is now with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. What do you think about that?
I think it'll come. Why don't we wait till after Sunday?
Yeah, I
make the judgment on that.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, in fairness, look, a lot of that's built off the football kind of thing. And in fairness to the Browns, they haven't been very good for a while after having great teams, off and on, different points in time, especially going way back in their history. So, in recent years, that Cincinnati-Pittsburgh thing's been cranked up because both those teams have been really good. And they'll renew that rivalry this weekend. 1-1 pitch to Renda is low and away. Renda 6 hits. He only has 28 at bats. He has a double and 2 runs batted in. 2 balls and a strike to Tony Renda. 3 balls and a strike. A little better crowd tonight than we've had the last couple of nights. I mean, look, during the week with school back in and so forth, and a disappointing overall season for the Redlegs. You don't expect huge crowds on a Monday, Tuesday night with the Brewers in town, but not bad tonight. And there's ball 4. A hit batter and a walk to the three's face, but a big double play sandwiched in between. So the number 8 hitter is Tucker Barnhart. Overall, he has had a really, really nice year. On base percentage at .320, batting average and .254, 42 runs batted in, and has 30 extra base hits on the season. He has had a good year. And I think a lot better than most people would have ever thought playing every day.
I think a lot of people just looked at Tucker Barnhart and said, well, he's built like a backup.
Renda will move into scoring position after the throwing error by Garrett.
Well, he's kind of digging himself a little hole right here. He does have Renda leaning, but that ball just completely botched by Chris Carter. I'm not even sure if that ball was in the dirt.
Now let me ask you a quick question here.
Oh my.
It's one thing when we joke around about you throwing time after time after time over when Vince Coleman's standing at first base. But for the fans sitting in the stands, and quite frankly, I don't know the answer to this question. Do you think that Garrett throws over on his own right there, or do you think that's given by someone in the dugout, if you're guessing? Because I know you don't know for sure.
Well, the only way I know for sure is if I see the catcher sign. And I can tell you what the sign is. For most teams, it's like 1 is a fastball. What they'll use is they'll like flip their thumb up, like you're flipping a coin with your thumb. That's the universal sign for throwing over to first base. I saw the Reds had a throw over by Adelman with Chris Carter at first base when Joey Votto caught the ball and threw it back. And I imagine he probably threw over because the bench told him to throw over.
Well, that's something we're going to keep an eye on tonight, maybe, in situations when you wouldn't expect to be throwing over to first base. We have a very special guest, and I mean really special. Standing by with Jim Day when we return.
Fox Sports Ohio. Hope you got to see the Reds live pregame show because Brian Giesenslaw did a terrific story on this lady right here. And what a special Reds fan she is. Patty Hallett, 100 years young, born in 1916. And you have had a love affair with the Cincinnati Reds, have you not?
Right. Since the 1960s. Loved it.
And your favorite player, now you watch on a nightly basis, correct?
Oh, yes. You right now, you mean? Billy Hamilton.
Billy Hamilton's your guy. Tell us why.
He keeps the game fun, and he enjoys it, so it helps us enjoy it.
Now, I understand for 50 years you moved to Los Angeles, but you remained a diehard Reds fan, did you not?
As much as I could. I saw the Reds when the Dodgers played them. Otherwise, I had to be a Dodgers fan until we came back here.
Now, you have lived quite the fairy tale life. I know when you were in your 50s, you got your pilot's license.
Yes.
You've been a painter. Right now, you're writing your memoirs. And I am up here talking to your family and friends, and there's no one that has a bad word to say about you. You've got to be very proud of the life you've led.
I am. They have a lovely family, and I appreciate them. They're good to me.
Now, I understand tonight is the first time that you have seen a Reds game live since Crosley Field, right? What's this experience like for you tonight?
Oh, it's just terrific. I'm so thrilled I can't eat. And you know, that's unusual for me.
Well, I heard that you do like to eat, but you know what? I'll give you a little secret. I like to eat too, so it's all good. Tell me about just 1916 you're born. I mean, obviously you were too young to remember World War I. You've gone through World War II and the Korean War and Vietnam War and all the changes that society has made over the years. Do you ever find people that come up to you and just want to talk and get advice about the world? Because I know I would love to pick your brain.
No, they don't want advice from me.
Yes, they do.
But I can remember back as far as I was 3 years old.
Really?
I can remember my grandmother sitting in the rocking chair, patting her bun, the back of her head, you know, and rocking away. But that's all I can remember at that age.
Well, I was too young to go to Crosley Field, so I'm very envious. In the 1960s, who was your guy, Pete Rose?
Who was I, what?
Who was your guy, Pete Rose in the 1960s?
Yes. Well, I worked as secretary to the president of H&S Poe, which was the big department store at that time. And they had a box. So when the VIPs weren't using it, I got a chance at it. So to be able to sit down right in the front and see the players' faces, hear what they had to say, you know, it made it a real life experience. I loved it.
Well, what would you like me to tell Billy Hamilton?
Just keep it up. He keeps the game fun.
Well, this...
Tell him to tell Joey to smile.
You know what? We'll work on that with Joey. We'll work on that with Joey. You know what? Patty's not only a claim to fame of being maybe the biggest Reds fan on the planet, but she has a very famous nephew. In fact, he's sitting to my right. We're talking about NASCAR Hall of Famer Bobby Allison. And I understand you got the word that she was going to be here, and you flew up here because anything for Aunt Patty.
You bet. I'm telling you, she's been great with me, for me, for a long, long time. Took care of me right out of high school and had lots and lots of good times with her and the family.
I imagine there's a lot to learn from her.
Yes, for sure. Very, very focused and dedicated and very talented.
And as a young lady, I was, you know, some pictures that we showed during the feature that Brian Giesenslaw gave it. She is a beautiful lady now. She is in great shape right now, but what a stunning lady she was and is.
Oh, absolutely. When I got to live with them back in 1955, she was as gorgeous as any one of those movie stars.
Well, when you got the word that she was going to be here, you had to be here, right?
Yes, I had to be here for this. Yes, I did.
Well, we appreciate your time. It is great to meet you, and we got to give one more word to her. God bless you. You know what? We want to send out all our love. Thank you so much for being a Reds fan all these years.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching on a nightly basis.
I do. I don't miss it.
Tell you what, this is one special lady right here as we go back to the booth. My pleasure to do this interview here tonight.
Well, you're not lying, Jim. She is really with it. Looks great, sounds great, mind as sharp as can be. And Jim, before we let you get out of there, because I know you've been down there for a while, is Jim able to hear us down there before I ask him anything?
Yep.
Jim, you had asked her about her memoirs, and I believe, if I heard the piece correctly, that was done by Brian Giesenslaw. Beautiful job, Brian, on that piece. She's at the year 1993. Is that right in those memoirs?
Yes, your memoirs. You're up to year 1993. Is that correct?
1995.
1995. How many pages you got down?
About 330.
Nice. And you're working on an old school typewriter, right? None of this computer stuff, right?
That's right. I was a secretary for years, and a typewriter is that's my thing.
Jim, how many words per minute can she still type?
How many words per minute can you still type?
Oh, I don't know. Probably about 60.
Wow.
60.
That is awesome.
That's nice.
That is
Nicely
awesome.
done. Well, I would love to see some of your paintings. I would love to read your memoir, and please let us know when you're done with it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What a lady.
Oh, man. That was so well done, Jim Day. Thank you very much for taking the time to go up there and visit with her. We thank her and Bobby Allison and their entire family for being a part of Reds baseball and making our day so much better and brighter than it was before she joined us. And God bless her. Maybe Jim will interview her when she turns 103 or 104. We were talking about a typer. We were watching this when the piece was on earlier. I mean, she's moving right along now. It's not that Chris Welsh, use a index finger and a thumb every now and again on there.
2 index fingers and a thumb.
And I'm poking fun at you because that's the way it would be for me.
I have autocorrect. You don't see those on those typewriters.
No, you do not. That's why I laugh now when I hear, college students will come back into town and, oh, man, had a paper that was due and all that kind of thing. Hey, for those of us going back to the high school and college days where you had to type them, I'm not even sure then they had whiteout yet. Or it was just getting started. It may not sound like much, but that was quite a difference when you had to type your own paper.
You're not.
I mean, it's night and day, man. And some of the young folks are sitting there, oh, old man, give it a rest.
Well, that's the first reason you have having a girlfriend.
But can't she type?
Well, that's the reason.
High fly ball into right field off the bat of Scooter Gennett, and he is played long ball to make it a 4-0 Brewers lead over Adelman and the Reds. That's an 0-2 pitch with 2 outs.
You can see Gennett kind of hang right in there. It looked like an off-speed pitch the way he went after it. After he walked harder for the second in a row, he just drops a little curveball down and out of the strike zone. Look at the reaction by Tucker Barnhart. I mean, Gennett just goes right down there to get it.
Three of the 4 Brewer runs that have scored in this game reached base via the walk. So again, we thank all of them for joining us here tonight, celebrating a special night indeed. Boy, Jim looks like part of the family. Look at him there. MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment. But game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and so much more. You can download it. It's a #1 app for live baseball on your phone, and tap it. I think Jim Day might hang around with the family there for a while. I think he ought to. He's got lots of food down there.
Did such a great job on that interview last night. Did a great job at talking with Tom Jackson.
I think that last homestand he'll be joined by Linda Antis from Cincinnati, USA, Regional Tourism. Always one of our favorites to join us, and we'll look forward to those two getting together those final 3 days of the year. So she's a big fan of Billy Hamilton. Makes the game fun. Swing and a miss by Adelman, and that's the way things start for the Reds here in the third, trailing 4-0. Well, Billy's still out with that injured oblique. You know, it's always interesting the perspective of someone who just sits back and watches, and she had not come to a game, as Jim asked her. You know, since back when the Reds were playing at Crosley Field, she moved to Los Angeles for a number of decades before just recently moving back to Cincinnati. But her advice for Joey Votto to smile a little bit more. It was interesting advice from someone who just watches the game, that, you know, even the best player on the field, or, you know, sometimes, a lot of times, the best player in the league, she just likes to see him smile and enjoy it a little more.
Well, you know, if she wanted that message passed along, she's certainly talking to the right man.
Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Jim will be, I'm sure, I don't know if he'll pass that along to Joey or not, but when the two of them chat after the game tonight, perhaps that'll come up. 1-2 on Jose Peraza. We'll see if the top of the order can get the Reds back into this game, trailing 4-0. Two delivery and a fastball away. That's his best velocity on a fastball so far tonight from Guerra.
Well, he has been normally up around that on most of his starts. He did get on the disabled list with a bad elbow back in August, and they were quite worried about it, actually, but they're seeing what he has left here the rest of this year. We'll start and stop right there. I got corrected as to where Eugenio Suarez and Junior Guerra are from. They're really from the same city in Venezuela, but essentially different, different parts of the city. Guerra's from an old-fashioned part of the city, and Suarez is from a new planned development. Kind of like one being from over the Rhine and the other maybe from Mason, something like that.
Yeah. That ball shot into right center field. Very shallow, the Brewers outfield play. This could be 3 bases. Peraza's going to make the turn. He's coming to third. He's going to make it. Having a hard time understanding that defensive alignment by the Brewers. I mean, they have the center fielder and the right fielder playing so shallow. This is a routine single when you're playing under normal circumstances.
You sure would think so. I mean, this splits the gap right there, and it turns what would be a single way into a triple. I mean, you can see how shallow Domingo Santana, and he's not exactly a speedster out there, but Peraza is. Be interesting, really, to see where Peraza ends up next year. He's played, all over. He's playing center field now with the absence of Billy Hamilton. Reds have a couple of different players that could play center field. Schebler's played out there. Holt can play out there. Peraza can play just about any of the infield positions. Will there be an everyday spot for him?
Holt waves through that pitch. Brewers conceding the run in the middle infield anyway. Anything hit right at the third baseman, and we'll see.
Well, this is kind of interesting. If you look where the center fielder is playing out here, I mean, they're giving Tyler Holt all this area in left center field. Plus, he's playing very shallow. Broxton is.
I am still just so dumbfounded by the positioning against Peraza. I mean, it's one thing with Tyler Holt. It's another thing with Peraza. Peraza's got some pop in that bat. And I guess from just the most basic logical way to look at this, you say to yourself, there's one out in the inning. This should have been a single into right center field. But because of the way you're playing, now granted, he can't guide the ball that way and, hit it that way when he wants to hit it that way, but you basically handed him third base when you could have limited him to a single. I just don't get it. And again, I mean, I'm not sitting here banging on Craig Counsell. I mean, everybody has their scouting reports, and we see teams shift a lot.
Well, when you overshift like that and a guy burns you, it just looks so bad. But if you're playing more conventional defense and the ball goes in the gap, you don't think twice about it because you're conditioned to see it like that. But I agree with you about playing so shallow.
Well, yeah, that's the part I'm talking about.
This is not the
strikes out
where you have to play that shallow. Although maybe it is. I've had some coaches come in from out of town of the team saying, hey, you know what? We like to play shallow here because in this ballpark, anything that's over the outfielder's head is usually a home run. And Broxton will go back to a much deeper position in center field now with Joey Votto up.
I think everybody agrees, it's one thing to shift, and if you shift on Votto and he bounces a ball through the left side and has a single into left field, okay. You'll swallow that, and it really doesn't make you look bad. But when you're shifting and playing, quote unquote, north to south, so far south against a batter, it just seems like there's nothing but a downside. What's the upside?
Well, now that Guerra's got Joey Votto 2-0, I would really be surprised to see him give him anything to hit right here.
But you brought up earlier, you wondered why so many people have been pitching to him the way he's been knocking a cover off the ball.
I mean, if he wants to take a walk, take a walk. But don't let him drive the runs in until the guys behind him show me that they're almost as good.
You got a 2-0 fastball right down the middle of the plate. I mean, that is center cut. Maybe a little the outer third. And again, Pina gets smoked in the face mask. It's 2 or 3 times already in the game tonight alone. Umpire, you saw Roberto Ortiz asking Pina if he's okay. Two and 1 to Joey Votto. Peraza at third and 2 out. So on a 2-0 count, Guerra is not backing down to Joey Votto. He has come back with back-to-back fastballs as if to say, let her rip.
Well, after throwing 2 fastballs and in the strike zone, not getting hurt by Votto, I'm thinking he's coming with that splitter now. Fastball action. In fact, he's got the grip right there in his hand, ready to go. He shook off the splitter to get to the fastball. And Pina's saying, are you sure? The heat. Now the changeup. The heat inside.
And he's going to get him out. Boy, I tell you what, Guerra's showing some guts in that at bat. Fell behind Votto. 2-0. 3 straight fastballs to get him out. As for the Reds this coming weekend, buy the Oktoberfest ticket package and get a Reds ticket, your first drink free at the Reds game. A commemorative Oktoberfest mug and your first drink free at Oktoberfest Cincinnati. You get all that for $20. I mean, are you kidding me? Visit Reds.com/OK, that's with a K, Oktoberfest, and purchase right now. One pitch to take care of Arcia to begin the Milwaukee 4th inning. Brewers with a 4-0 lead. Reds missing out on a chance to score in the 3rd after the 1-out triple by Peraza. Adelman coming in and walked 15 batters in his first 9 starts, spanning 46 1/3 innings. He walked the first 2 batters in the 2nd inning. Both of them wound up scoring for the 2-0 lead. He issued a 2-out walk to Carter, who then scored on the 2-run home run by Scooter Gennett.
Just seems like one of those nights where he's just a little bit off. And a lot of times the pitcher will say, well, I didn't have it tonight. And it doesn't mean that your fastball is down or that your arm hurts. It means that your release point is just not quite there. So you battle and you battle and you figure out what does work for you. You stay stubborn with your stuff. Say, for instance, you don't have a good curveball tonight. He gave up a home run on a curveball to Scooter Gennett, 0-2. Not a bad pitch, but say he doesn't have that pitch. Well, it doesn't mean you stick it in your pocket and you never use it. You keep throwing it until maybe you're figuring it out. Good news is he's down the bottom of the order. If he can get the number 8 hitter Pena out, then you'd have to deal with the pitcher. He could use a 1-2-3.
Jam shot flare into left and a nice sliding catch made by Duvall. Pena hit one exactly like that his last time up for a 2-run single.
Yeah, he got too much of that one.
See, this will be the 81st pitch for Adelman. Comebacker to the mound, and that was a quick 1-2-3 inning. That one coming on a 1-1 pitch to Guerra. So he needed it.
Is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Saturday night on Fox, the Ohio State University Buckeyes hit the road, and it's one of their biggest non-conference games in the last number of years. Number 3 Ohio State goes to Norman to take on the 4th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. That game is Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern, only on Fox. Ohio State, the youngest college football team in the country. Think about that. Nearly 200 schools playing Division I college football. Ohio State is the youngest team in the nation, returning 3 starters from last year's team. Staggering. So the Bucks will be ready to go in Norman come Saturday night, or at least one certainly hopes so. Ball's in the air on the first pitch to David Duvall. Or Adam Duvall, I beg your pardon. And that's 1 pitch and 1 out. Taking a look at this. Suarez is coming up. David Duvall used to play golf, didn't he?
Sure. Probably still does.
He was a good golfer at one time.
Very good, yeah.
He was around a long time, then he sort of disappeared, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's kind of like my dad's golf team. Sort of faded away.
Maybe never to return again. I think the game's probably passed them by. Fast pace of golf, you know.
Yeah. Oh, and 1 to Suarez.
You just can't resist that dig.
I can't. I mean, I've left him alone. But, you know, he was sort of short the other night. So getting a little jab with the old bear every now and again. You know, we talked about Suarez last night, and you brought it up, Chris, about you liked him in that 2 spot in the batting order. You know, you look at just the month of September alone, and today is only the 14th of this month. Suarez 4 times has hit second, once hit cleanup, twice has hit fifth, once has hit sixth, 4 times has hit seventh. But it hasn't affected his stroke negatively in any form or fashion, hitting .310 with a .383 on base percentage. So he truly is one of those guys where he really doesn't care where he hits. Those are the numbers so far in September.
I think he's just going to get better and better. I really do. I think that he's gotten better defensively at third base. He's a threat at the plate.
Tomahawks that pitch up the third base line. This will go all the way to the wall, and Suarez will coast in with a 1-out double here in the Reds' 4th, down by 4.
Got to feel especially comforting for Suarez, who got drilled on the back of the arm his first time up. Guerra gets that ball up and a double down the line. Yeah, we mentioned that Guerra is from Venezuela, and he was signed by the Braves when he was 18 years old. That's going back to like 2002 or 2003. And he was a catcher. So then he gets suspended in 2009 after the Braves decided to make him a pitcher. And he struggled as a pitcher. He was a relief pitcher. He was suspended 50 games for PED use and essentially out of baseball after that. And he was not involved in any affiliated baseball, no major league affiliated league of any kind, between 2009 and 2014. He pitched in Mexico and South America. He went to Europe. He pitched in Spain. I didn't even know there was a league in Spain.
No.
Independent leagues here in the United States. And then he finally came back and he resurfaced with the White Sox organization a couple of years ago. And he went all the way to the big leagues, pitched last year for the White Sox as a reliever. And never really got to work on his trade very much. It was always come on out, throw hard, throw your splitter, 2-pitch pitcher. That's all we need from you. And then they have a coach in their minor league organization for the last few years who's also from Venezuela. He had Junior Guerra down in winter ball as a player. Carlos Subero, who's the first base coach for the Brewers here. He went to the Brewers over the winter and said, hey, go after and pick up. There's Carlos Subero. He said, pick up Junior Guerra. He said, I know this guy. He's battled back from the very bottom of the barrel. He's got great character. He's got a good arm. And if you ever put him in a position where he can actually work on his pitching, he'll learn how to pitch. So they decided to make him a starter. He started in AAA this year. And when your pitch is a starter, you get a couple of bullpens in between starts, so you can work on your breaking stuff and you can work on your on the finer points of the trade rather than just going out there and trying to get a hitter out one inning at a time. And it really paid off for the Brewers.
Well, you're in survival mode at that point,
Absolutely.
Right? Good hard off the bat of Tony Renda, but right at Santana. We'll talk more about Junior Guerra. He's shutting out the Reds on 3 hits so far tonight. Cincinnati's most historic annual events, Oktoberfest Cincinnati. Just park one time, take in 2 Reds games, celebrate the Queen City's German heritage. The first 20,000 fans at Saturday night's 6:10 game receive a Reds Stein thanks to Moorline Lager House. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Big weekend here in Cincinnati with Oktoberfest Cincinnati. Reds will be playing a Friday night, then a day-night doubleheader Saturday. Sunday afternoon. You'll be right here all weekend, Mr. Welsh.
You better believe it. I would imagine
coming back in
that Oktoberfest. I mean, there are so many craft breweries that have popped up all around the Cincinnati area over the last few years. It'd be well represented.
Oh man, no doubt about it.
You'll be on the road to do some football.
Yeah,
George Graham will be in town.
That's right.
Looking forward to seeing George. Have not seen George in a while. He was in Pittsburgh. Worked with the Cowboy during that series.
Well, I know everybody around the ballpark loves a chance to catch up with George. He infrequently does home games, so everybody around here will be excited to see him. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss him. Good man. Bouncing ball to the right side. And one away as VR is hitless in 3 at-bats tonight. Coming up later, we'll have our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. Stick around for that. For those of you wondering, the early game on Saturday will not be televised here on Fox Sports Ohio, nor will the Sunday game. So you and George will be back together again Friday night 7:10, Saturday night 6:10. Reds live 6:30 Friday, 5:30 Saturday. Pirates are hanging on by raw fingernails at this point in that National League wild card race. 6 games back going into play today. Now the Mets have already lost. The Cardinals also lost. Mets shut out by the Nationals 1-0. Cardinals shut out by the Cubbies today 7-0. Cubs magic number is 1. So the Cubs have a chance against these Brewers tomorrow to clinch the National League Central Division crown. Brewers are leaving here tonight and they'll play a night game tomorrow night. Wrigley Field will be rocking tomorrow night. But back to that wild card. The Mets still lead St. Louis by a half game. Miami losing again down in Atlanta. Missing a chance so far anyway to pick up ground. Pirates losing to the Philadelphia Phillies. And a Colorado team 8 back, 7 under.
Well, the Pirates, you know, you mentioned that they're losing again. They're 5.5 games out of the wild card, but they are 3 games under 500.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals are only 7 games over. And they're right in the thick of things. I mean, they're only half a game back. So this would have been a good year to be pretty good.
And I mean, if you're the San Francisco Giants, you know, they're the overall leaders in the wild card. They just got swept by the San Diego Padres in San Francisco.
I don't think the San Francisco Mafia like that very much.
No. No.
And when I refer to the San Francisco Mafia as those fans, and if you talk to some of the coaches and people around the Giants, I'll tell you, when you start winning World Series every other year, there's a group of people that come to expect it every other year. So if you want to take a year off, that's fine, but you darn well better win again when that even number comes around.
And they pack them in there every night.
They sure do.
With all that pitching they have, it's just so hard to believe they've played as poorly as they have for such an extended period of time. I mean, this is a good solid 2 months where the Giants have just not played well. 7 in a row now retired by Adelman. Middle of the 5th. It is a 4-0 Milwaukee lead.
Game, and what is it about second baseman going yard this season? Check out our T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. 524 home runs hit by second baseman this season coming into tonight, and that breaks the record of 477 and 09, and it blows the record away. Second time since 1974 that 3 have had 30 or more, including Brian Dozier, who hit his 39th tonight. Now, these are just numbers, is more than 39 overall, but 39 playing second base, and that is only 1 away from the record as a second baseman. Ryan Sandberg, 40 in 1990. So that position, which is known as the disparity position, if you can get some power. Oh, what a catch down there at third base by VR. A disparity position, if you can get power from that position, you're doing well for whatever reason. Second baseman going long ball this season.
And a great catch indeed.
What a good bit of hitting by Barnhart. That's a nice play by VR, no question, but Barnhart's got to be, you know, I did what I wanted to do up there.
Night is over for Tim Adelman. The battery made of Tucker Barnhart. He'll be taken down for a pinch hitter, and Guerra's looking at his pitching coach, who's walking out there, Derek Johnson, like, what's going on? Oh, they have to go over the scouting report on Selski. Is that what it is, you think?
I'm pretty certain that's what it is. It's almost a mandatory trip nowadays, where when you get a pinch hitter, you can't go over everybody, especially in a roster that's expanded in the month of September. I bet it went something like this, though. Up and in, low and away. When you throw hard, you go inside. When you throw soft, you go outside. Throw hard up in the zone and soft down in the zone.
Okay, let's see if he executes that game plan.
There's
How about a
Barnhart
fastball right down the middle?
They usually leave that part out of the scouting.
Yeah, they probably do. All right, 0-1 to Selski, batting for Adelman. Adelman finished strong. He had a tough time of it in the second and third innings. He walked 3 batters. All 3 wound up scoring. And he gave up 3 hits and 4 runs. But other than that, he retired everybody he faced in the first, the fourth, and the fifth. So 5 innings, 3 hits, 4 runs all earned. Edelman struck out 4 and walked 3. Two and one to Steve Selski. Selski in his third stint with the Reds this season was up for 1 game in May. 7 games, 1 start in the middle part of June. He just had surgery in August to his left knee. And he's gone swinging 2 away in the inning. Well, if a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign during our game tonight, Amanda Harold from Kettering, just outside of Dayton, will win that Tundra. And you still have a chance. 3 more home games this weekend. 4 actually games this weekend. 3 more the final 3 of the year. Just stop by your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. 4 strikeouts now for Guerra. And here's Peraza. And they're going to play him the same way defensively again in the outfield as they did a short while ago when he tripled in the gap.
Well, they've kind of closed the gap a little bit. The interesting thing is they really don't think he's going to pull the ball. I mean, Brian Braun out there in left field must think, is there anybody else on my team? Look where Braun is, way out here. He's been mighty quiet.
Straight away center field. That'll back up Broxton, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3 for Guerra. And a 5. Brewers lead by 4. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. Abel De Los Santos takes over on the mound for the Reds. He is a 31st pitcher used by the team this season. That breaks a franchise record that was set in 2011. Was brought up from 2003, I beg your pardon. He was brought up from Pensacola on Monday, where he made 2 relief appearances during the Blue Wahoos 3-1 series loss in the Southern League South Division playoffs. He didn't allow a run in 3 innings. Started the year in the Nationals organization. And his first pitch as a Red, he gets an out. So welcome aboard Abel De Los Santos.
Well, he's actually been in 2 different AA teams this year. As you said, one with the Nationals. They're down in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Pitched 17 games for the Blue Wahoos in Pensacola. and a little bit in Syracuse.
He's had a good year this year. 29 relief appearances. Harrisburg and Syracuse, as Chris mentioned. ERA right around 3.5, then claimed off waivers by the Reds on the 19th of July. And a 1.5 ERA in the 17 games in the Reds organization. So he kind of short arms the ball a little bit and then drops it at 93 on you.
He's a nice young fella. I had a chance to talk to him a little bit. His English is very good. He's from Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Very, very nice, smiley young guy. Mostly fastball, curveball. He says, I don't use my changeup that much, but I want to use it more and more. So they probably got the TV on back in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic.
You've been down there, right?
In the area.
What sent you down there?
Well, they had a golf course down there I wanted to play. Several of them. And I went down there to visit our good friend Johnny Cueto.
Oh, that was a trip.
And you know,
I'm sorry.
I hope to get back maybe sometime this fall. You never know.
Did you leave the video down there and you got to go get it?
I'm going to go look for it while I'm down there.
It's on that golf cart you drove down to the Dominican.
There's a little sail on it. A mast and a sail. They've got the Reds baseball dialed in all the time down there, I can tell you.
Johnny Cueto's mom will celebrate Patty's number of years on this earth before we see that Johnny Cueto video that you did down there.
Johnny throws one heck of a birthday party for his mom every fall.
Patty's still hanging in there tonight, enjoying the ball game. God bless her. Man, was she sharp.
What a great smile.
Yep. Beautiful lady. Boy, Jim Day was right in his element. And Danielle from Fox Sports Ohio office is down there visiting with her for a little while. Danielle Lance. I don't mean to shortchange Danielle there. We ought to send Jim Day back up there. He said he was kind of hungry, and I'm sure he was a little embarrassed about asking for some of that food, but by this point in time they'd probably let him dig right in. Jim, what do you think there, big boy? 2 down in the inning.
Most of the good stuff was gone, Tom. I did get a couple of carrots and celery. Ate those.
You did?
Yeah, I honored those, and honoring Chris Welsh with that.
Boy, you're out of your element.
I know, but I could have stayed in that suite forever talking to her and Bobby Allison. Bobby Allison, one of my favorite quotes of all time, not only in racing but in sports. The 1979 Daytona 500, got in a fight with Cale Yarborough on the backstretch. He said, I can't help that Cale Yarborough wanted to pound his face into my fist. We were talking
line
about that.
I think he just heard you repeat that because he's sitting there smiling in the in the booth where they have the TV on down there.
He's a great guy. That whole family. I tell you what, that was a treat.
So now wait a minute, real quick. I want to go back to something you just said a minute ago because it sort of took my breath away. So like on the way out, did you like reach over to the little party tray over there and like grab a carrot and a piece of celery and stick it in your pocket on the way out, or
I got a plate.
Did you eat it there?
I got a plate, ate it right in front of me.
You did?
Oh yeah, it's the Fox Sports Ohio suite, so it wasn't like I was.
Well, I know, but
no, it was good.
Okay.
Ate there and shared.
Did you have some ranch with it or something?
What's that?
Some ranch with it or something like that?
Yeah, I had a little ranch sauce with it. Didn't have the kale, though. I was going to bring that back for Chris. But
in a blender?
Yeah, in a blender.
You're killing me.
All right, let's see if De Los Santos can polish off Santana and the Brewers in 1-2-3 fashion. That's pretty good looking hook right there.
Yeah.
I mean, way out in front of it at 76 miles per hour.
I think Barnhart got a piece of that one.
Yeah. On the right knee. In the replay, it looked like it hung a little bit more than it actually did in real speed. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Welcome aboard, Mr. De Los Santos. That's a good way to begin your career with your new franchise.
One of the truly great men in this country on the Reds dugout in that half inning. Medal of Honor recipient specialist Ty M. Carter. Now, he was supposed to be here to throw out one of the ceremonial first pitches tonight with GE, but he, because of weather, missed his connecting flight. So they got him here and honored him on the dugout. It's his second hometown hero of the night, and he is the Medal of Honor recipient. And this is very rare. There's only been 14 recipients of the Medal of Honor, and this is the highest distinguished honor that you can get. And he put his life on the line more than once in Afghanistan. And this award goes way back, created during the Civil War. That's a man's man right there. And we send out our best to all the men and women that are serving our country around the world.
Yeah, that medal is awarded by the President of the United States. There are 3 versions of the medal, one for the Army, one for the Navy, one for the Air Force. Personnel of the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard receive the Navy version. It's simply known by its initials MH. But the initials are not used by recipients as a post-nominal title. Created in 1861, it was named the Medal of Valor.
There's a little rustling going around in the Brewer bullpen right now, not because Guerra's struggling, but because they've got a pitch count on him. They're very careful about his elbow that caused him to go on the DL about a month ago. They'd probably like to get him through this inning at least, and then probably turn it over to their bullpen. Although he only has 74 pitches.
You lose weight? You lose some weight?
Yeah.
And that's a good way to get it started here for the Redlegs in the bottom of the 6th inning, trailing 4-0.
Well, Holt gets a spot start tonight, and he gets on base a couple of times. Had a base hit in the 1st inning, a walk there. Now Votto's 0 for 2. In fact, he came up his last time. We were speculating maybe Guerra would pitch around him a little bit. Had a runner at third base and 1 and 2 outs, and got Votto after coming after him with 3 straight fastballs.
Ball 1 low and away to Joey. So a hit batsman and a walk came within 3 batters for Guerra back in the 2nd inning. That's been his only bout of wildness at any point during this game. And now he walks Holt to begin the bottom of the 6th with a 4-run lead.
Well, you know what that splitter does? It's a great equalizer if you're a right-handed pitcher facing a left-handed batter. Now, Strasburg and Arrieta, they don't throw a splitter, I don't believe. Straley's got lots of off-speed pitches, but that's a pretty good list to be on if you're a right-handed starter and you hold left-handers to batting averages at 200 or lower.
Carter, that's a nice play. He can't get the ball out of his glove, but he'll take the out behind him. And that's a good decision by Carter. It's just not worth it with a 4-0 lead here.
You know, he's not a guy that plays overly aggressive with that type of play. Once he's able to grab it, we saw him do that last night. Where he said, you know what? I'm going to get the sure out right here, and I think Guerra probably appreciates that. I wonder if Craig Counsell had a talking with some of those players in the infield last night. I mean, they've had 2 nights in a row where they played less than ideal defense. And you throw that ball away, and it's the start of a possible huge inning.
Well, here's Adam Duvall. Twice his flight out to the center fielder, Keon Broxton. He had a good rip at that first pitch fastball, but fouls it straight back and out of play. Guerra's season ERA now, working on a 3-hit shutout tonight, is down to 2.83. Very impressive. The other thing you like about this guy is not throwing 96, 97 like you brought up earlier, Chris, but I mean, there's enough there at 93, 94, but more importantly, he is not afraid to challenge guys. He is coming after people. That Votto at bat, you don't see that very frequently, especially by pitchers who don't have a lot of experience.
I was surprised to see him do that. I mean, he came right after him and got him out. Well, the Brewers, like the Reds, they're looking for starting pitching.
Do you think every team in baseball has a Spanish reading lip reader and an English lip reader?
Well, they have
on their
Spanish,
staff.
They have translators who can probably read lips. Can you read English lips?
Pretty well.
Okay. I would imagine a guy, if you speak fluent Spanish, you can, read lips there too. I remember Doug Rader, when he managed a AAA franchise for the San Diego Padres, wanted to teach his team a few words in Hawaiian. Just a few words, so in case they missed the sign at third base, he could just yell it to them, and no one would ever know what he's talking about.
Really?
I thought it was a great idea.
Great idea. He was an intense guy, man. Swing and a miss, 2-2 ball. And that's strike 3, 2 around the inning.
Of course, all he ever said to me was aloha.
Well, Reds fans, come on down and join Mo Egger from 700 WLW for the Reds Fam Camp Friday night at the Holy Grail. Your chance to answer Reds trivia, win great prizes. Who knows, maybe you're a part of Reds Live. The party begins at 6 right across Joe Nuxall Way at the Holy Grail on the Banks. Mo Egger logging a lot of hours these days, both on and off the air. Two down in the inning, and here he is, Suarez. Reds trying to find a way to break through against Junior Guerra.
Well, Junior Guerra, 31 years old. When you start making a list of rookie pitchers that are over 30 years old, and you go back to say, you got to go back to World War II, because there just aren't that many. Chuck Smith was 30 when he made some starts for the Marlins. That was back in 2000.
Yep.
Pete Walker pitched for the Blue Jays in 2002. But beyond those two, you got to go back to guys like Art Fowler in the 50s.
Wow.
Satchel Paige.
And of course, that's only because in Page's case, African Americans were unable to play in Major League Baseball.
He was in the Negro Leagues
Right.
for such a long time.
One ball and one strike on Suarez, with holdout at second base and 2 out. There just have not been a lot of good swings or a lot of loud contact against Junior Guerra here tonight, even on foul balls. This will be he's now at the 85 pitch mark. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning with hold at second and 2 out. And Guerra ahead of Suarez at a ball, 2 strikes. And that's a little lazy pop up short right field. This young man is pitching really well tonight. Really well. celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month with Fiesta Rojos. We'll have pregame festivities, a postgame fireworks show featuring a Fiesta Rojo soundtrack thanks to to quote AAA and Mr. Welsh. 381-REDS or visit Reds.com. Jumbo takes over on the mound. Jumbo Diaz will replace Adelman, who goes 5 and allows 4 earned runs. And then De Los Santos a perfect 6.
Now, Jumbo was up last night in the bullpen. He got hot and ready to go and ended up not coming into the ball game. So he comes into this game tonight. The Reds have been unable to get on the scoreboard. Bottom of the order for Jumbo, 8, 9, and 1, or make it 7, 8, and 9.
Garcia 0 for 2 is fouled out to Votto and grounded to Suarez. Good first pitch slider in there, strike.
Right down there and almost landed in Bob Crotty's lap.
There's Bob down there in a black cap.
Yeah. Wife Jane next to him. Now I see why I didn't make an attempt at that ball.
More valuable property.
Get a little Oktoberfest going early.
Garcia fly ball into right field. And that's the way it starts for Jumbo here in the 7th. Here's Pina, who got Milwaukee on the board in the 2nd inning. A bases loaded 2-run flare into short left field. Brewers would get a 2-run home run by Scooter Gennett off starter Tim Adelman in the 3rd inning, and that's all the scoring tonight. 4-zip in the 7th. Jumbo throwing a lot more sliders tonight than throwing rearing back and just throwing the fastball. There is already a pinch hitter standing in the on deck circle for the Brewers. Andrew Susac is down there, which means the night looks like is over for Guerra. So Guerra goes 6, although he's not officially out of the game yet. 3 hits, strikes out 5, walks 2, hits a batter, no runs. Look out. There's a fastball up under your chinny chin chin.
Because sometimes Jumbo gets down on the side of that baseball, really gets a lot of run from side to side.
Hot smash into left field by Pina. So after a couple of little bloopers out there, one that fell in a drive in the 2 in the second, he jumps all over that pitch.
You know, we talked about players yesterday like Ivan de Jesus. Extra players. Teams are always bringing up other guys that maybe can take your job. Maybe they could do one thing better than you, or maybe they could do a little bit cheaper. You know, the same thing goes for a pitcher like Jumbo Diaz. Spent some time down in the minor leagues this year. He's been up and down really his whole career. He was 30 years old before he finally made the major leagues. I mean, you know, every appearance he gets here in the month of September is like, for him, a World Series appearance. Pitching for his major league life. He wants to be on that short list next year when the team heads north on opening day.
And again, if you didn't hear the news, opening day next year will be on April the 3rd against, again, second year in a row, the Philadelphia Phillies. Fighting Phils in town. Then the Reds will immediately hit the road after a 3-game set. 3 in St. Louis, 3 in Pittsburgh. Then 3 different teams come to town. Long homestand in the middle of April there. 4 against these Brewers, 3 against the Baltimore Orioles, and then 3 against the Chicago Cubs. Giants come into town in the month of May. Cleveland at the end of May. The Dodgers will be in on a weekend in the middle of June. Cardinals also in June. July we'll see the Cubs come to town, the Nationals. Talked about the Yankees coming in early May. August, Mets will come in, St. Louis will be in, among others. And then we talked about the Boston Red Sox. Actually, the Boston Red Sox are the final 3 home games of the year next year for the Reds, if you can believe that. September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Reds will finish the season on the road. Two and two. Three and two the count. Jumbo got ahead 0-2, and now he'll have to throw another strike in there.
14,368. 1, 4, 3, 6, 8.
Ninth pitch coming up in this at bat. An at bat, as we mentioned, that Jumbo was ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Missed on a couple of sliders, missed on a fastball, and now back-to-back fastballs on 3 and 2 fouled away. Broken bat pops him up. It's a good job there by Jumbo. 2 away in the inning. Well, coming up tonight and after each and every Reds game here on Fox Sports Ohio, why not stick around for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Jim Day will be reporting from the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Been a busy night for Jim, been bouncing all over the old ballpark. Steel and celery and carrots from a skybox, and then back to the sports condo.
Well, he probably has a big spread down there at the post-game condo every night.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. You know, the chicken on a stick and, you know, some sliders and things like that. Just to, you know, a little something to nibble on. Wonder how he'd feel if somebody walked up there and stuck one of those sliders in their pocket and, you know, scooted out. Kind of like he did with a carrot and celery tonight.
Where'd you put the ranch dressing?
Jim?
I had it in a little plastic bowl that they had sitting there. Don't put it past me, though, to just take a handful of ranch.
Hey, believe me, I understand.
You gotta do what you got.
I've done it.
Hey, I don't have any food at the set, but you talked about renovations to the set. If they could add a refrigerator, I'm for it.
Okay. Swing and a miss, 2 balls and a strike. So, you know, maybe what we should do is Jim, maybe you'll be with us in Chicago, correct? At Wrigley Field next week?
Yep.
Okay. Maybe while we're there, because, you know, we always have to fill a little bit of time in a pregame show normally.
Yep.
Oh, you know what, though? We're doing 3 straight night games, right? So, anyway, maybe we ought to come up with, in Reds Live, the pregame, is maybe like a to-do list for the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Can you come up with like 3 or 4 or 5 things?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right off the top of my head. Couch might be one of them.
Well, you're not going to get that because you're working. There's a swing and a miss, 3 and 2. So, I mean, that's kind of out. But, I mean, if there are things like a little mini fridge, that'd probably help, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we'll start there.
Yeah.
So you think about it, and we'll, you know, we'll look into some of those changes during the offseason.
All right, you're the man. I know you're the man with all the pull, so we be able to get that done.
Three-two on VR, and it's straight up in the air, and this should end the inning. It'll be a scoreless inning here in the 7th for Jumbo. Yes, indeed. Big fella getting it done. And the Reds need to get going. Patty's hanging in there with us. Reds need to get her a win. Let's look at the weekend's local football action. And, man, there is some big-time action this weekend with Tri-State Tailgate. Jeff Pecoro, Tony Pike will preview the big games in the area, from the pros, Bengals and Steelers, to the college ranks. Tri-State Tailgate kicks off tomorrow at 6 on Fox Sports Ohio, presented by Columbia Hyundai and Genesis. Boy, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter what the sport is. But, I mean, right here in the heartland, I mean, you are totally dialed in year-round on big-time sports. I mean, just look at the next, well, it'll be 72 hours starting tomorrow night. Right? So, we'll call it 4 days, because technically you're starting tomorrow night, Thursday. UC is hosting at Nippert Stadium. 5th-ranked team in the country, Houston. As Corey Knable takes over on the mound, Reds are trailing 4-0. Houston's a team that beat Oklahoma the first game of the year, and Oklahoma was preseason ranked number 2. All right, so you got that game. Saturday, you have Louisville down the road, top 15 team, hosting Florida State. What's Florida State ranked? 2nd?
I thought they were 4th, weren't they?
4th. 2nd, okay. They're number 2. Louisville's at home. Sellout crowd will be down there like Nippert tomorrow night. Saturday, you have a 3rd-ranked team in the country, Ohio State, going to Oklahoma. And then on Sunday, the Bengals v. Steelers. So, if you're thinking about a little tailgating, pretty good weekend. But many of the rest of you, you're thinking about, hey, now look, Reds are going to be here this weekend. I'm coming down here. Friday night ball game. Saturday a doubleheader, day night doubleheader, noon and 6, and Sunday at 1:10. One away in the inning. And, of course, this time of year, every Friday night is high school football Friday night. 0-1 to Tony Renda. Reds and Fox Sports Ohio have another big happy birthday wish to Phyllis Reed out in Hillsboro, Ohio. Celebrating her 89th birthday today. Happy birthday, Phyllis. We hope you're enjoying the game. God bless you, young lady. 89 years young is Phyllis Reed. Beautiful country out there in Hillsboro. Renda loops one into right field, a base hit. That's a nice looking swing there by Renda. He's on for the 2nd time tonight.
That's a definite move to try to hit that ball to right field, staying behind it nicely.
Devonde Jesus Jr. waits in the on-deck circle. Jim Day's down there wearing out a bag of something he swiped out of that skybox.
It didn't look like celery in that bag, did it?
Unbelievable. Would have to take the up camera of this shot. It's sunflower seeds. I'll confess.
Boy, that's cold.
I know.
That is really cold.
Yvonne just looked back at me. Hey, I'm trying to concentrate on the game. Can you shut up?
I cannot believe Chris would do that to you, Jim.
Yeah.
What do you mean, me?
Oh, yeah. Tom's one of those guys that stirs the pot and then walks away and watches everyone argue.
Here's a breaking ball down low. I mean, Chris couldn't help himself. He was pointing at that monitor so fast. 1-2 on Tucker Barnhart. And Knebel delivers strike 3, and Tucker knew it. 95-mile-per-hour fastball right at the knees. Second strikeout for Knebel.
Knebel's got some good stuff. There's no question about that. He was a former #1 draft pick with the Detroit Tigers. And he pitched a little bit with the Tigers when he was 22 back in 2014. And they got traded from the Tigers when Yovani Gallardo was sent away, and they got Knebel in return. Of course, that was a deal actually with the Texas Rangers. In the meantime, he had gone from the Tigers to the Rangers, and then the Rangers to the Brewers.
DeJesus has done a nice job as a pinch hitter this year. .333 batter, has 9 hits and 27 at bats, including a pair of doubles. So he'll bat. Reds trying to get something, anything started. They're getting shut out on 4 hits tonight. Brewers only have 4 hits, but they took advantage of wildness from Adelman. He walked 3 batters, and all 3 would end up scoring runs. Ball to short. Arcia will throw out DeJesus, and that's all. Reds get a single by Randa. He's left on base. We go to the 8th. Brewers still lead 4-0. Our Honda game summary. The scoring started. A couple of walks and a hit loaded them up, and Pina a 2-run single into left field. The Brewers would score 2 more in the 3rd. With 2 outs, a walk, and then an 0-2 pitch to Scooter Gennett. He clubbed number 12, 4-0 Brewers, and the rest has been in the hands of Junior Guerra. Threw the ball really well tonight.
The Reds have not had an inning yet in which they've had more than 1 runner on base. So it'll be up to Ross Ollendorf to hold him right there here in the 8th. Boy, Ross Ollendorf's almost been in 60 games for the Reds this year. Now, there was a time early in the year that he was being used as a closer.
Two, 3, and 4 in the batting order. Keon Broxton, Ryan Braun, and Chris Carter. Broxton a big swing and a miss, and that's the third time he struck out in 4 at-bats tonight.
Ohlendorf took something off. There's the changeup grip right there. You see he just kind of flips that ball over, has it come off and touches pinky finger, the last bit of contact that makes with his hand. Gets a nice down and in run.
Big deep breath exhaled by Ohlendorf, and now rocks back, throws those hands in the air to face Ryan Braun. Ball 1. Three and 1 to Braun. And that one will drift out of play, first base side, and a full count. Ohlendorf trying to battle back from a 3-0 count. And it's a 1-out walk. Well, every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. Weekdays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, only on FS1. Here's Carter. And it's ball 1. Carter, 34 home runs. He hit his 34th of the season here last night. Braun taking off, and there's just no chance for Tucker Barnhart.
He was never checked by Ohlendorf. I think right now Ross is more concerned about throwing the ball over the plate.
And for Ryan, that's his 15th steal in 18 attempts. So he'll be a 2020 season this year more than likely. He can pick up 5 more in the next little over 2 weeks of the season left. 3-0. Consecutive walks by Ohlendorf after striking out Broxton to begin the inning. Ohlendorf wanting a new baseball, actually wanting a word with his catcher Tucker Barnhart before this 0-2 pitch coming up to Scooter Gennett. Marlins have rallied to go in front of Atlanta 6-4, and for the Marlins, they would gain ground on everybody. Gain ground on the Mets, the Giants, and the Cardinals. All losers earlier today, and the Pirates are getting beat in the 8th inning at Philadelphia. Down the left field line, it's a long run for Duvall. It's good play. At the warning track down in the corner. Especially with the retreat.
Yeah, and the ball slicing away from him too.
All right, so 2 away in the inning, and here comes Domingo Santana. Santana 1 of 3, singled back in the 2-run second inning. Got a couple big boys going to toe-to-toe right here, and this one is hit a country mile to the second deck. 3-run home run by Santana, and the Reds unfortunately have broken new ground on the Major League Baseball record books. That is the 92nd home run allowed by the Reds bullpen this season, tying a Major League record for a bullpen originally set all the way back in 1964 by the Kansas City Athletics. 92 home runs. Well, when that big fella runs into one now, it's going to go a long way.
Well, we've seen him hit a couple of home runs against the Reds earlier this year. As I remember, in Milwaukee, they were hit to right field and center field. That's where his real power is. But I mean, when you get into the upper deck here, you've really launched one.
So 4-0 becomes 7-0. Garcia, ground ball pulled foul, 0-2 to him. Brewers only have 5 hits, but look at the walks. 2 walks by Adelman to start the second, both scored. A 2-out walk by Adelman to Carter. That was in front of the home run by Jeanette. Ohlendorf walks 2 batters consecutively with 1 out in this inning. And after getting the second out, he allows the 3-run home run to Santana. So Reds pitchers have walked a total of 5. All 5 have scored. A little bit of a quick pitch there by Ohlendorf, and he gets Arcia on strikes. A 3-run home run by Santana. 7-0 Milwaukee.
One of Cincinnati's most historic annual events, Oktoberfest Cincinnati, Friday through Sunday. First 20,000 to the day-night doubleheader Saturday, the night game at 6:10. Those first 20,000 are going to get a Red Stein thanks to Moorline Lager House. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Well, earlier in the game, we talked to 100 years young. What a joy she is, Patty Hallett. And her favorite player, she told us, is Billy Hamilton. An update on Billy. We talked at length to Billy, out with an oblique injury, and unfortunately he says the injury has not improved. It is still giving him problems. He has not done anything physical whatsoever, and he talked about how tough it is to sit back and watch. He didn't finish last season on the field, and it's a probability that he won't get back this year. He talked about seeing Jonathan Villar trying to chase him down for the stolen base title in the league, and tough to watch. He enjoys watching VR, but wishes he was out there, and he's been very open, saying he would love to win that stolen base crown. But with the injury not getting any better and Billy kind of up in the air, they haven't told him whether he's going on the road trip or what's going on. And this is just me talking, gentlemen, but with this an oblique injury, and he says it's not improving, I would think it would be highly unlikely we'll see him the rest of the season.
I think you're right, Jim. Jim, thank you very much for that. Jan Marinez takes over on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers.
He's been fairly dependable for the Brewers this year. Marinez started the season with the Tampa Bay Rays until the Brewers picked him up. That was back around the middle of May. Just about 40 games. Good strikeout to walk ratio. Double that number. Keeps the ball in the ballpark.
Broken bat pop-up. This may fall in. And it will. So Peraza now on his way to second base. And he is out. That's a call. He's out. Brian Price, I'm not so sure he agrees with that. In fact, he is already saying, hang on a minute now. We're going to have a...
Well, they're going to hang on a minute anyway because of this collision that they had out in short left center field. Not really a hard collision. Both of them went down and stayed down for a while, but they're both okay.
It's like the soccer flop.
Yeah, you know, you're right about that. I think there's some Bengals sitting around watching this game, watching that collision, and those guys laying down out there for a few minutes.
I'm not so sure if you're a football player, you want to watch any collision, you know?
No, I guess not.
But, you know, but on a serious note, I know what you're getting at.
You watch them every day in practice,
That's
and
right.
you certainly watch them on Sunday.
But, you know, but to your point a minute ago, though, you know, sometimes it's a play like that looks like nothing. And you do see it in games of football where all these massive collisions, and all of a sudden some guy will kind of fall down funny out of bounds. Doesn't look like anything. I mean, the Bo Jackson injury against the Bengals in the playoffs, to this day, you see that tackle and you think, no big deal. Call stands. Out is a call at second base.
Oh, I look at the Billy Hamilton injury.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't even check swing.
Better
it was just
example.
A little bit of a turn of his torso. Next thing you know, he's done for the season, or looking more and more like he's done for the season.
Right. I think Ryan Braun was the one who picked the ball up, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Call confirmed. So it'll be a single, but then the throw goes from Braun to second base for the out of Peraza, and now Holt, the tapper, down to third. He's thrown out by VR, 2 away in the inning. So here's Joey Votto with 2 down and nobody on. Votto hitless in 3 at bats tonight. He went to his final at bat a couple of nights ago without a hit. It would have been the first time since the All-Star break. Before the All-Star break, he had gone 2 straight games without a hit, and then he dropped one into left field off Brent Suter. And look what he does his final time up tonight. A rocket the other way. A 2-out single. That ball was smoked. So Votto aboard. Reds down 7-0 here in the 8th.
I mean, I'm just stunned to death to see how the Brewers want that pitch down and away. And Votto just excels at hitting that ball exactly the way he does right there when you pitch him down and away. Really, when Junior Guerra, the starter, needed an out and he got behind Votto, what did he do? He came back in with fastball after fastball, finally pounded him inside and got a ground ball out.
Yep.
So if you believe the hit charts, you know, where you're going to place your infielders and outfielders defensively, why wouldn't you believe, you know, you believe the spray charts, why not believe the hitting charts or the zone chart where you can try to pitch a guy? Although I'm sure Votto's looks like it's, you know, over 300 just about every spot in the strike zone.
Yeah, well, one of the coolest displays I've ever seen is at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, where they have a glass enclosed series of baseballs that make up the strike zone. And each baseball represents a different area, and it has a number on it that is the career batting average of Ted Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, isn't
that on the cover of his book too?
Yes. It's incredible to see it. Ground ball to short, and that will end the inning. We go to the 9th. Reds are trailing by 7.
Sports Ohio, and we tell you each night that if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign out there in right center field, someone's going to win a Toyota. It's part of our Miller Time moment. And let's take you back to July 16, 2009, the closest anyone has ever come. And Votto, check it out. He splits the smokestacks, hit it over the sign. That's as close as anyone has ever come. Hitting it over. We get that question often. Well, has anyone come close? Well, that's the closest it has happened. Votto with a majestic shot, July 16, 2009, your Miller Time moment.
Boy, Jim, that's great stuff to be able to fill everybody. I had forgotten about that. Boy, that is a blast when you see that on a replay to split the uprights there out there at the PNC Power Stacks. Wow. All right, changes. Joey's out of the game. Iribarren takes over at first base. And a couple of other changes for the Reds. Lopez has just come into the game behind the plate. And on the mound is Peralta. And a left-hander turns it loose up high.
Peralta's a guy that the Reds signed as an 18-year-old. He's been in the minor leagues for quite a while now. From down the Dominican Republic. In fact, the first 2 seasons he played pro ball, he was in that Dominican Summer League. Then when he was 20, the Reds moved him up to the Arizona Rookie League. He's played in Dayton, Bakersfield. This year he started in Pensacola, AA, then went to AAA, and here he is in the major leagues. And with all the good arms that are in the Reds organization, there really aren't all that many left-handers down there. Of course, the Reds got 3 in return from Johnny Cueto in that deal with Kansas City last year. You have Amir Garrett, Bright Star coming up. But Peralta's getting a look. He's a former starter when he was pitching just as recently as a couple of years ago.
You know, the other guy you and I were talking about the other day that the Reds were so high on, 3 years ago, there's a walk to Peanut to begin the inning. I mean, this guy had probably the best numbers in a single season as the Reds had in the minor leagues 3 years ago. And he has been injured the last 2 years and then put together a really good year this year is Ismael Guillon.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah, sure do. Got a good arm.
Yeah. Yadiel Rivera takes over on the mound. Here's a pinch hitter. I beg your pardon. So Rivera batting for Mariñez, who works an inning, allows a couple of hits, but no runs. So Lopez behind the plate. Yeah, Peralta on the mound and Iribarren playing behind the runner over at first. One left-hander the Reds let get away, and Chris, there was a time that you were very, I'm not going to say high on it, but you certainly liked some of the stuff that he would feature from time to time, and that was David Holmberg.
Reds gave him a chance.
This ball's in the air to deep left center field, and that's up against the wall. They're going to hold the runner at third base. So Rivera off the bench with a pinch hit double. Now, where is David Holmberg now? We haven't brought up that name in quite a while.
No, we haven't. And the last I saw, he was with the White Sox organization. I think he was pitching in AA this year.
How'd he do?
Down in Birmingham. I'm not. I'll have to look up exactly, but I would have. He was a starter down there. I'm not sure. Probably. Let me see here. 6-6 with a 3.7 earned run average.
Okay.
This year.
He's still really young. He's very young.
Yeah, he's only 24.
Yeah.
Actually, he's up with AAA too. He had 9 starts in AAA and 19 starts in AA. Remember, the Reds acquired him from the Arizona Diamondbacks, right?
They did. But he was originally, if I remember right, I think he was originally a Chicago White Sox.
You're right.
1-1 the count on VR. Infield in. And that's a first out in the inning. We'll get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before the start of every game on Fox Sports Ohio. We call it Reds Live, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And George Grand, Chris Welsh, Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, Brian Giesen, Slaw and the gang will get you warmed up on Friday night, 6:30. Ryan Vogelsong will start it for the Bucks. Robert Stevenson starts for the Reds. 0-1 on Keon Broxton. You know, you said something earlier, Chris, and you were talking at the time about Jumbo Diaz and, you know, wanting to, every outing at this point of the season is like, you know, pitching for your roster spot and wanting to make a good impression and finish a season well. You look down there, most of the crowd is gone, but look at all the number of scouts still sitting down there watching every single pitch, even of a game between a 4th place team and a 5th place team in the, you know, top of the 9th inning in a blowout game, and yet they're still down there making a note here, a note there, and you never know what might end up happening from some of those notes.
You know, it's interesting because when you play a team that is in the playoffs or has a chance to be in the playoffs, there's a ton of scouts following that team around, because all the other teams that are thinking their team's going to be in the playoffs is sending a representative to watch, you know, the Dodgers, the Cardinals,
sure,
everybody else. When you have 2 teams like the Reds playing, the scouts you get normally here are not normal, the normal Major League scouts you see all year long. This is kind of a dead time for scouts. There's not a lot of summer ball going on for amateur baseball players. There's no high school baseball to be played. There's some college fall ball, but there's all inter squad games and so on. So a lot of teams that are paying their scouts year round are going to send them to big league games. There's no minor league games going on, so they're going to get a chance to see big league players at big league games and also send in some reports.
That's a nice job there by Peralta.
Sure is.
Walked the batter, allowed a double, and then retires 3 in a row. Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. So beautiful down along the banks, whether they have the lights out, you know, during the nighttime or during the day. You take a stroll along the riverfront. What an incredible job they have done. And now the streetcar's up and running here in town. I drove by that baby today. That thing's pretty slick looking.
It does look pretty slick. I have not been on it yet. Maybe tomorrow.
Really?
Be down around that area tomorrow night. Taylor Youngman is coming on to pitch the ninth for the Brewers. He started a lot of games last year for the Brewers. 21 of them exactly, and he was down in Double-A a little bit this year. And now making his 6th appearance with the big league club this year.
Rivera stays in the game to play third base. He had a pinch hit double. Suarez down the right field line towards a corner. Foul. Each team has 6 hits, but the Brewers have 7 runs. They've hit a 3-run home run, a 2-run home run, and a 2-run single. Guerra, the pitcher of record. He would win his 9th in 12 total decisions. Adelman, the pitcher of record for the Redlegs. It would be his 4th loss against 2 victories. Breaking ball swung on and missed, and that's the way it starts here in the Cincinnati 9th inning. So this 5-game win streak is about to come to an end here tonight, but it sure was fun while it lasted. And they'll try and start another one after an off day tomorrow when the Pirates come a-calling Friday night. Well, how about the movement on that pitch? I mean, the catcher looked like he almost lost his limb trying to catch that thing. Straight up in the air. Off the bat of Schebler. And the Reds down to their final out. Our Volkswagen drive of the game provided by Scooter Jeanette. 2-0 went to 4-0 on this 0-2 pitch. Golfed to the first row and right. Jeanette number 12. Santana hit number 8. Here's a one guy tonight that actually has had very good plate appearances in the Reds lineup, and that's Renda. He walked his first time up. He hit a laser right at Santana for an out in the 4th inning, and then hit a line drive into right field for a base hit in the 7th. So a good night for Tony Renda. Indians are rolling again tonight, leading the White Sox 6-1. Maybe Cleveland has the mojo here in 2016 after their beloved Cavaliers. It's certainly not going to happen on the pigskin.
They do have a chance to have a perfect record, though.
You're right. In fact, my old broadcast partner predicted they were going to lose every game. Brian Billick, former Super Bowl winning head coach of the one-time Cleveland Browns franchise.
Pretty smart guy.
He is a smart guy, but it's hard to imagine somebody losing 16. Liner into center, and that's the old ball game. Another hard hit ball by Renda. But not enough of them tonight for the Reds against the Milwaukee Brewers. Combined 6-hit shutout by Guerra, Knebel, Marinez, Youngman. 7-0 our final score. Reds Live is right around the corner. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.